Hello guys and welcome to another video. Before we get started with it, I want to say the next. I am not a financial planner nor a financial advisor. I am not FCA approved. I'm not approved by any institution that allows me to give financial nor investment advices. Nothing mentioned in this video should be considered investment advice or guidance. Everything shown, talked, and explained is for pure and only educational purposes. The risk is on your own hands. Enjoy. Hello guys, I'm going to be talking about tips and challenges, verification, pretty much everything that has to do with uh, funding, right? Funding companies, funding accounts, funded accounts, etc. And basically, what I wanted to talk about is what I think it's pretty much the best way to deal with a challenge, right? Deal with a challenge where you're pretty much trading with objectives, because usually as an example, I don't trade with objectives. I don't have objectives in my mind. I have objectives such as, well, I wanted to get funded with FT, which I'm now funded. In the future, I want to change from FT to FTMO. That was my plan in the past. I might stay with FT, that will depend, and get funded with maybe a little bit more, like 100K, 200K, 300K, something that, well, I have in mind, but still haven't figured out what to do just yet. But I don't have objectives, as an example, to get one day and say, okay, so today I want to make a 2%, and after that, then I'll get out of the charts, right? I don't trade with that kind of objectives, nor I trade with the objectives of, okay, so let's say I do 10% within this week and the next one, then I'm not trading anymore. That's something that, as an example, I might include on my trading plan or my mind, basically, because I actually don't have much of a trading plan, reading or anything like that. But basically, yeah, just wanted to talk about what I think it's the best way to pretty much get into a challenge, get into a funding type of scenario, and how to deal with it. And the first thing that I wanted to show is my MetaTrader. I can't show this account now because, well, it doesn't matter for now. I haven't logged in into the demo that is pretty much the funded. And I wanted to show the history of it. It's in Spanish, clearly, but pretty much all the history. So all of it. I think that's pretty much it. And I wanted to show, yeah, from losses to wins. And you're going to see so many losses. So many losses. Still here, we have all losses, right? I kind of want to count, but to be honest, at the same time, I don't want to count because it'll take forever. I can't really say for sure if I can count, but I think the difference is pretty clear. And also, you have a couple of break-evens. All of these are pretty much break-evens from here to here, right? So you can see stop losses. Maybe partials are pretty much getting out with profits. But as you can clearly see, I think so. Let's actually measure it with the bar, right? The bar basically goes one bar and maybe half of it, right? And on the losses, we have one bar. Trying to do my best here to try and measure it. So I think it was around there. 2 bars, 2 full bars, and I think we'll get to the third. Now that those are break evens. So let's say 2 bars and a half, right? I would love to count the trades, but I really don't want to, so won't be doing that. But pretty much you can see that we have 2 bars and a half of pure losses, and we have can I wait? Hold on. Can I actually take this off of here? Okay, I'm not gonna continue to try because from here. What did I do? Oh, I hit it. Okay, never mind. So what I wanted to show is that I have taken so many losses, take profits, just a few, because I've pretty much used to close when they're close enough to target, pretty much. And let's say we can only take profits that were from 200 to above. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th. 15th, 16th, 17 trades that were profits above 200, right? Just 17 wins that were above a 0.75% profit, right? That's a really good spy, not gonna lie. So right now, since I'm pulling to you, we are actually in a zone. Have a supply area here that was respected, then fails to hold, and price reacted to the cost. Just wanted to show that. But pretty much the major thing that I wanted to talk about is that you have to have a strong risk management. Strong risk management, right? You have to, at all costs, hold that risk management, right? Because it's pretty much what you need to actually succeed in trading, right? So trading, there won't be, I don't think there will ever be one trader that can have 100% consistency for a long time. Of course, maybe you can have a week where you take all the wins, which is very possible, but I don't think you will have your whole life with just wins, right? I don't think that's possible. And the only way that you can actually gain something in this market is pretty much by having a good risk management plan, right? So that's why, as an example, well, a 1 to a 5, I should have actually looked up for this picture, and I think I'm going to on Instagram because Samadi showed it not so long ago, and I haven't logged into Instagram. Well, that sucks. So pretty much is how much you actually need to be profitable within, depending on your risk, right? Depending on what our risk to reward ratio you actually handle, right? Because if you think about it, if you have a 1 to a 10 risk to reward ratio that you go for, then that pretty much means that if you take 10 losses, right? So you take 10 losses in a row, and then you take just one win that got to the 10R profit, you are back at break even, right? So we're talking about losing 10 trades in a row, which is very possible. Here it is. Can I open it? I don't think I can. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is that losing streak is pretty normal to good traders, to bad traders, to whatever you want to think about, right? So pretty much, I mean, you can take, as an example, with a 1 to a 10, you can take 10 losses in a row, win just one trade, and get back to break even. And that's just crazy, because if you think about it, then you take another take profit of 10R, then you have 10R, you have, how do you say this? 10R available, or 10R in profit, that you basically, if you take a couple of losses, you're still not even at break even, you're still making even gains, right? You still are at profits, right? So for as an example, for a 1 to a 5, with a 20% risk to reward ratio, you can be profitable, right? With a 30, even more, 40, even more, 50, 60, etc., right? So if you have a 1 to a 3, then you have to have at least a 30% profitability, right? And let me see if I can actually show you my funding talent, because the last account that I had for my challenge phase had at the end a 30% win rate. Okay, so I don't actually have that one. They deleted it already. But this is the one. Yes, this is the one that was my verification phase. Pretty much, I have a 34.09 risk to reward ratio. Win rate. Sorry. So that means that out of 100 trades, supposedly I won 34. And I think we can actually check the trades. Yes, we can. Does this show any sensible information? I don't think so. But you can, we actually have the account, so I don't have to show it through here. But pretty much a 34% win rate. I managed to do a 4% in pretty much 1 week that I almost didn't trade. I just messed up a lot. And the next week, which was basically this one, I took 3 days. of which the first day I was scared, took a couple of losses. Second day took a win, took a couple of losses, and third day just took a lot of losses. Not gonna lie, and it got to a point. Okay, it got to a point where I say, okay, just calm down, take a sec, come back to the charts in a few minutes, and find what's the next trade. And that's pretty much when I found the trade that that pretty much got me to target. And well, this is where it got. I mean, as you can see, a couple of losses, wins, loss, wins, 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 a couple of losses there. So you can see this is the same day. Took a couple of losses, basically was 25,605 and fell all the way down to 376 possibly. Yeah, 376, and even a little bit lower, I think, 313. Yeah, and then went all the way back up, which was pretty much the 700 and something profit that I got on that last trade. And yeah, I mean, the win to reward, risk to reward ratio is pretty much the most important thing that you have to handle, right? That you have to pretty much always have in your mind. And of course, the best way to do it is through somewhat of a targeting, right? Has to be on a logical area, right? The logical area, what I mean with the logical area is that you should target areas that pretty much mean something, right? And I mean, let's check out what's an example. This buy that we have right here, we have liquidity here. So that could have been a good area to aim for, right? We could have gone for something higher, maybe this extreme right here, which is an example we would have missed. But the most important thing is that you have in mind the numbers that I showed you just a second ago of risk to reward ratios, right? Because with a 1 to a 5, you can be 20% profitable. That means winning only two trades out of 10 and still manage to get out in profits, right? And that's pretty much it. After that, you basically have to have a strategy that basically allows you to catch good trades, to know where to buy, where to sell, and adjust that risk to reward ratio to that trading plan, that strategy, however you want to call it, right? So I went to the 5R because I usually know. In the past, I actually used to go for the 1 to 10s, and I used to take some profits, but at the same time, most of them ended up in break even or me taking partials and stuff like that, and that's what basically quite didn't work out for me, right? So I decided to cut it in half. Basically, 5R has worked pretty well for me. But of course, aiming to logical targets will always have a better risk to reward ratio, basically just better in every sense than fixed risk to reward ratio, right? Because as an example, it's also the same with the stop losses, right? Stop losses, in my opinion, shouldn't be fixed. You shouldn't say, okay, I'm going to trade with 2.5 pip stop losses, because in some cases that will be okay. In some cases, as an example, we have a 2 pip stop loss, which covers the high and a little bit higher, just in case price wants to go a little bit higher, or spreads, mostly for spreads. But let's say you want to use Let's say you want to use a fixed stop loss of 2.5. In this case, for me, in my opinion, it makes no sense. It's using a higher stop loss for something that, I mean, in my trading way, does not make sense. Now, there is something that does make sense and something that you can do, and it's to have a minimum stop loss size, right? So let's say you have a trade, let's say you're trading Asian session for some reason, or you are an Asian session trader, right? Simple as that. What you can find yourself with is having stop losses as low as 8 ticks, right? So we're talking about less than a pip. As an example, I wouldn't like to trade that because of 2 reasons. I can actually show you one of those reasons. Let me see if I can, my lot calculator made by a friend. And pretty much, if let's say I want a 1 pip stop loss, 1 pip stop loss, as you can see, it's here. And the lot size that I use is this one, right? So 12.50 by risking a 0.5%, right? So for me to trade a 1 pip stop loss, that's 12.50 lot size, that at the 5-hour target gives me $537, right? Now look at the difference when we go with a 1.5 pip stop loss. Have 566, so that's even a little bit higher than, that's a little bit better, right? Just that, not much else. And at the same time, look at the R's, which is what actually matters, right? With a 1 pip stop loss, we only get 2.53 R at the 5-hour, right? So when we hit that that target, when we hit the 5-hour target, we are only getting the value of 2.53 R. Now let's go to the all the way down to the extreme. 4 pip stop losses, 4 pip stop loss gives me a 4.11 R out of 5, right? So it's the burst. And even if we continue to go like this, I think I can do this. Let me actually check. Where will this explode? I actually worked out. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I did. Did it? I think it. Oh, wait. What am I doing? Oh, I was on this other side, not on that one. Sorry, my bad. What was I showing? I was showing it correctly. I don't know why I went to the left side. And we have 313. I fucked something up, and I'm not sure. Oh, no, never mind. So, I got messed up for a second there. So pretty much if we continue to lower this, we can't, so we won't. But basically, as pretty much my stop loss goes wider, gets bigger, right? My stop loss goes bigger. Pretty much I get higher R's, right? So let's say as an example, I want to trade to at least a 1.5 pip stop loss, which is still very little in my opinion, and can cause to basically get triggered out stupidly, because as an example, sometimes you do have an area very small that at 1.5 looks good enough, but at the same time we're talking about having to use such a high stop loss, such a small stop loss, that feels like if you get triggered out, you feel, I don't know, it makes me feel weird. You know, it's like I'm losing a 0.50, in this case, 0.50% with just 1.5 stop loss of a move, right? And I don't know, I just don't like it, right? So pretty much, as an example, my minimum stop loss is 1.5. For me, that's pretty much good enough, I'm not gonna lie. But for other people, might be more. As an example, logical targets, for me, this is a pretty good area to aim for. It's the last candle, well, the first candle that we have inside of this range, but I think that will be the best, which is pretty much the last bearish candle before this momentum that we had due to the news, pretty much, the demand move that we had. And that area to aim for, oh my bad, that area to aim for pretty much gives you a really good trade in this case, right? So you have from this point, right, from that trade, you have a 1 to 11. So fixed stars, fixed things in a market with things are not fixed, are not, they're not always, it's not like when you have a sell opportunity, you will have a 2 pip stop loss, or when you have a buy opportunity, you'll have a 3 pip stop loss. That's not fixed, because the opportunity that you're seeing, the opportunity that you're about to take, or the opportunity that's basically forming, will not be created the same way as it has been created in the past, right? So for me, having a fixed number in a scenario that doesn't use fixed numbers, it makes no sense. I hope that I made sense on that area. But pretty much here, this small area that we have here does not have the same stop loss than going for this whole thing, right? So for me, fixed stop losses do not make sense. Now, let's say you want to trade with at least 3 pips of stop loss. Well, in this case, you've gone for 3 pips stop loss because that's your minimum, and that's inside of your trading plan, right? That is different. If you want to trade with more than 3 pips of stop loss, because of any reason you can imagine of, then that's great. That's within your trading plan. Now, if you want to use fixed stop losses as, let's say, 3 pips for sells, 3 pips for buys, or maybe 3 pips when you have a demand area, or 5 pips when you have a demand area with liquidity below, well, that could be inside of your trading plan, so just forget the last one. But if you want to use fixed stop loss, in my opinion, that's not quite good, right? Of course, that's my opinion. That's the way that I see it. That's the way that I apply it. I do not like using fixed stop losses, and I use fixed stars because, well, at the beginning I was using the 1 to a 10 as usual, and then I changed to 5R, and that has basically worked out for me. But I've been basically, as you've seen, I've been back testing, trying to see how to choose good targets, how to try to basically get more out of trades that I've been basically getting just 5R, right? So kind of got off topic, not gonna lie, but pretty much I think that's one of the most important things, which is risk management, right? Because if you have a good risk management, you can do exactly what I did, which is basically take a huge amount of losses, and a very small amount of profits, which basically takes you to achieve good stuff, right? As an example, I risk just a 0.25. I changed to risk a 0.50, and that was because I was feeling confident with the way that I was trading lately, and I decided to risk more, which would have basically allowed me to get at a big target sooner, right? But the first thing that I did when I started with this, with the verification phase account, the first thing that I did was I started with a 0.25 risk, right? First of all, because it was a new account, and if I risk a 0.5% in 10 trades, I basically lose the account. Sorry, in 20 trades, I basically lose the account. But if I'm risking a 0.25, I have the ability to lose 39 trades, and if I lose the 40th, I basically lose the account. But basically, you have to do those numbers at the same time to make you feel either comfortable or uncomfortable. You can risk a 0.10%, you can risk even less than that and still achieve the target. But you have to use a risk that basically allows you to feel comfortable with yourself, with your trading, and basically, well, if you have a way, either through back testing or through your history of trading, if you have a way to know what's approximately your winning rate, then you can adjust that to your trading plan and say, okay, so I have a 30% winning rate. I need at least a 1 to a 4 risk to reward ratio to be profitable, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it, I'd say. That's one of the biggest things, right? And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is pretty much the way that I did it and the way that I think you should do it, right? And the way, of course, that I think that I should have done it, but well, it's kind of late for that. So what's the best way, or what is the actual way to do a challenge, to take a challenge? I think the best way to do it is to, first of all, have the money to buy the challenge without that money hurting yourself in the way that I mean in the way that basically if you lose that money, you do not care, right? That's what I'm trying to say. As an example, for me, that's a little bit hard. Those 160 that I paid for the challenge were a one-time opportunity that I had because I had a really good friend that lent me money that I have already basically given back to him. I also had a good strike. Basically, I made some money here in my home, just doing stuff and getting paid by either neighbors, stuff like that. Basically managed to get those $160 because $160 in my country are currently somewhere around half a salary of a salary, right? Half a salary. So that's a lot. Believe it or not, that's a lot. For many other people, it might be more. For many other people, it might be way less, right? And what that actually allowed me to is to have access now to a $25,000 account, of which every profit that I make, I get to take the 80% out for myself, right? And well, the rest goes to the company, right? At some point, of course, I will withdraw this money that I've been making, put it into an account of myself, and pretty much trade with it, right? As simple as that. So, first of all, get money to buy it that doesn't hurt you. Because if you have that pressure that you think this is the only chance that I get, that will not help at all. Okay? That will not help at all. The second thing that you should do is trade in demo. Please trade in demo. Learn a strategy, watch other people trade, practice, back test, do whatever you want, but practice, then go into a demo. Take, I don't know, month, 2 months, however you feel comfortable, but find the first step, find consistency. Find consistency, and I mean consistency, maybe at the very least, I don't know, a whole month where you at least every single week you find yourself with, I don't know, a 10-hour profit or 15-hour profit or 5-hour profit, right? I don't say percentages because for me, as an example, 10-hour will be 2%. That's because I risk a 0.25. But maybe you want to risk 8.50, maybe you want to risk 8.10, maybe you want to risk 1% per trade, right? That depends totally on you, and that is in your hands, right? So find consistency. Find that even in the worst days of trading, you still manage to keep your calm and pretty much find the best way to try and trade the market that we're currently on, right? But find that consistency where you do not lose your temper and start trading a lot, whether it is scalping, whether it's however it is, right? Just take your time, okay? The next step is to have a strong trading plan. To be honest, that should be the first thing, right? Because, well, otherwise you can't really trade. You need a strong trading plan. You need a plan to know what to do in each moment. Price is going various. I should be looking for continuations because price is an example. In this case, we have a bearish market. I should be looking for continuations, not reversals. Whenever we start breaking, as an example, a supply area that has worked, then that's when we start looking for buys. Okay, that's my trading plan. That's if we have a bearish market, supply has not been broken just yet, then we look for continuations. I've shown already how do I look for continuations, right? As an example, well, I'm going to talk about that in a bit. So you need a strong trading plan, and at the same time, a strong risk management, which that kind of goes through the trading plan, but in my opinion, it's better to just take it apart because the trading plan is more what do you do, and the risk management is how do you do it. Well, not how do you do it, but what's the risk you're going to take, and why do you think you're going to be profitable, right? So that's pretty much it on the way you should do it. The points that I thought of, right? The points that I basically sat down while I was talking to my grandpa, talking about, I don't know, pretty much any other subject but trading, of course, because you have to know what it is. But pretty much, those are the most strong things that, in my opinion, should be considered by yourselves. Okay? So, the next point. The next thing that I want to talk about. That's the way you should do it. And I'm going to talk about the way that I did it. And why was I so wrong on doing so? I entered phantom trading on December 23rd, 24th, somewhere around there, sorry. After that, I was in there for a month. Around maybe the 2 weeks, so 2 weeks after I joined, I think I was already finding opportunities. At that time, it was trading in the 1 hour, targeting 1 hour areas. So you can easily find 40-hour trades. I've taken 40-hour trades. I've taken 20-hour trades that, due to bad psychology, they were closed. As an example, maybe a 5-hour, maybe a 7-hour, maybe a 10-hour. But basically, I was finding profitable trades. So I get out of Phantom because my subscription basically ends out, right? Crosses off, and I think I had 2 weeks. Sorry, when was this? January 11th? No, sorry, 10th. It was 2 weeks, a little bit more than 2 weeks after I left Phantom. I was having really good profits, and I decided to pay for trading full funding talent. Sorry. So let's go through the steps. I traded maybe 2 weeks in demo, of which I got out in profits, and let me tell you why. Because I caught a 40-hour trade, which was closed at 15-hour, and I think I had taken maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 losses before that. So basically, just that trade got me back up to break even. And let's say later I took another one, a 40-hour trade that basically was close to 10-hour, but I was able to identify it, so I felt good enough to go for a challenge, and I went for it, right? So what is wrong there? It's wrong in from very perspectives, right? First of all, but one of them is the fact that, remember I showed you, do I have it here? I think I do. Yeah. Crazy PA is a day where a simple supply and demand flip was good enough for a trade. Excuse me for the colors, but these are the old colors, but there's not much that I can really do about it. We have flip, entry, take profit, flip, entry, take profit, a stop loss. Well, this extreme area, I don't count it. Broke supply, entry on the cost, take profit depending on when you're aiming for it, but 5R gets hit. Flip, entry, take profit. Broke demand, stop loss. This area, I don't think I would have traded it, but we have a flip, another take profit. Pretty much we had 6 trades that worked out amazingly. That same way of trading today, what is this? Oh, I'm back testing. Never mind. I'm replaying. This same way of trading today, I don't really think it actually got to 6 trades. We do have one here, but it's most likely today it didn't work out that way. And having that confidence that one day it worked out so amazingly, you could have gotten maybe 6% if you actually were risking, sorry, not 6%. If you were risking a 1% per trade, let's say you only went for 5 hours, you have 5 multiplied by 6, and that's a 30% profit that you basically made in just one day. So having that in your mind, you think, that's it, what else do I need? Let's just go to a challenge, pass it in one day, and that's it. That's the mentality that I had. That's the mentality that I went in with. And at the beginning, the clear thing that happened is that I started taking losses and losses and losses. This account, this one, the first one, because this is the verification phase. The first one, I think it's this one. You can see all of the losses, right? All of the losses. And it's because it took me literally 1 month. Literally, because the last trading day is when I managed to pass the challenge, right? And that's also something wrong that we'll talk about in a second. But basically, the first challenge that I took, I went down to 24,000. Sorry, no. So we have 25,000. 10% is 2,500. So let's 2,000. So let's say I was around 23,300 or something like that. So I had pretty much lost. Wait, now. Yeah, 23,000 and something. So I pretty much lost. I had lost a 6% if I remember correctly. I was down a 6% on my only chance. So I think I had 2 weeks left still, and managed to get back to break even. And as soon as I got back to break even, I sent the email that I wanted to take the retry. Right? I wanted to take the retry. I wanted to start over with the days. I did not want to mess it up. What happens? The same thing happened again, but this time I was a little bit more careful. And why is that? Because I think I took 3 losses in a row. I realized that I was still not ready, but I had to get back to break even somehow. So I continued to trade and got back to break even right away. I think it was a little bit scary at that point, but I'm glad that I did it the way that I did it. But pretty much at that point, I said I want a retry, but I basically did not start it. Right? Let's say 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by, and I basically sent another email. Please set my challenge start date to tomorrow. For example, let's say it was Monday or something like that. And I started that challenge, and that is the challenge that I've passed. Right? So I basically took 2 retries, and on the third one, I was not gonna lie, I prayed that day to pass that challenge, and I passed it. Hell, you can even see it. I think I've shown it without even realizing. But look at these losses. The last day, which was the 30th, where's the date? Here, 30th. Look at this, all of this. The last day I decided to risk the double because, well, to be honest, I was not going to lose the challenge, the retry, sorry. But I was maybe going to not going to be able to pass the challenge, right? So I said, let's just risk the double and get past it. And I started scalping. I said, okay, so let's just risk a 0.5, go with higher risk, and pretty much that's it. Try and pass it. And I passed it. And I thank God for it because I'm pretty sure that he had more to do with it than I myself, right? And why did I get into that? Okay, so I barely passed it, right? And why is that? Because on the past few weeks, I had been having good results. I had been trading well, not great, but well, and I would have been able to pass it if I would have had a better psychology, right? I didn't have the best psychology, and to be honest, as I said, I was barely able to pass it, and not in the way that I wanted to pass it. I wanted to take one trade with the same risk that I was taking, and basically get it out and take profit and pass the challenge because I literally needed a 1%, so that's literally one trade that I just need to get right? Or maybe a one trade with a 5R that basically gets to the 1.25, covering the loss that maybe I took, right? So one loss and one win to pass the challenge. So let me check that I'm recording because otherwise I'm going to cry. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that I didn't do the thing that I was supposed to do, right? Since the beginning, I over-trusted the way there's a word in English and I'm not going to find it. I was overconfident first, but I underestimated the market. That's what I was going for. I underestimated the market. I felt like I knew everything that I needed to do to manage to get profitable in this market, went for a challenge, and almost lost my one chance, right? So I passed the challenge. Verification started last week. Verification started with a couple of losses. I was feeling okay. Didn't matter to be honest. I managed to stay well psychologically, and I managed to get out in profits, right? Managed to pass the challenge. I think I did it pretty well. I started risking 0.5% after I had created somewhat of a what I call a gap between the point of the point of break even and where I was, right? Because I had a profit of, I think I was 500 at this point, 500 in profits. So if I started risking a 0.5% at that point, I still had around 5 trades that I could have lost before pretty much going back to break even, right? So at the same time, because of that risk, I basically started to move my stop losses a little bit, trade my stop losses a little bit more aggressively, and which is why, as an example, I didn't take that many losses with a whole 0.5% loss, and why I had so many half losses. Hell, I have the price action of yesterday here, I think. Yeah. And where are they? Half a loss, this was a full loss, that one hurt a lot, and half a loss, right? So as an example here, this moved my stop loss to the half, price came back down strongly. Same here, this was a down trade, to be honest, fear of missing out as at its finest. But yeah, so where was I? So yeah, so it took me 3 challenges to be able to pass one challenge, right? I was able, and I'm really grateful to whoever I have to be grateful for, and I'm grateful to God that I was able to get back to break even 2 times, and that I had the good psychology to say I am not doing the right thing right now and I need to stop it, and I stopped it right in time. Because on the first challenge, I could have said, okay, so I managed to get back to break even, let's just get to profit, and I could have lost the account, but I was okay psychological, and I said, no, let's just do the right thing. And between the second retry and the third, which is the one that I passed, the third is the one that I passed, I basically realized that what I was doing was wrong, because I was basically getting up, trying to trade, and when the trading session was over, I was just getting out of the markets. I was getting out of the charts. I was just on the afternoons, just watching Netflix, maybe doing some exercise, sorry. but I was not looking at the charts again. Maybe I will look, okay, so what happened today? What could have I gotten? Just like that, very minorly, a very minor look back at what happened and how could I improve it, right? And when I realized that I was being a dumbass, I just wasn't realizing that with just spending a couple more hours in the charts, coming back to what happened, maybe spend a couple of hours backtesting. I hate backtesting because I do very bad on it. I do horribly on it, so I don't backtest that much. And to be honest, on a backtesting session, I could get a minus 20%, but on a live session, I can get maybe 2% profit, right? And lately, I've actually improved on my backtesting, so I'm glad of that. But that's why I didn't backtest and why I don't backtest as much right now, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. I started coming back, started doing the Notions, which Notion basically is just an app that you can basically write, put screenshots on it, so it works pretty well. It was used on the community, and I started using it because of them. And that basically helps a lot to... Oh, you know what I can do while we are here? I'm going to put this here so you watch it in the background. So pretty much, right? I started putting the hours, putting the effort into trading, because until that point I was just getting up in the morning, trying to be profitable, very little, losing, and just getting out of the market, not coming back to see what was my mistake, what did I do wrong, sorry, what happened on the good trades, what happened on the bad trades. And when I started looking at those details is when I realized what things was I doing wrong, what trades, what setups were forming for me to pretty much try and be profitable in the future, right? And when I started finding out those patterns, that's when I started creating patterns that basically basically helped me to get to where I currently am. And to be honest, when I started teaching you, or basically just talking about concepts that I know, that I use, and basically I started to realize that there were some gaps in my trading plan, in my way of trading, that basically I have fixed through these past weeks. And that was only because I was trying to pretty much help people, help other traders that felt lost like I felt at some point. And that's pretty much it. When I started teaching others or trying to explain others the concept that I use, that even helped me even more. I don't like teaching. To be honest, I don't like teaching. I do like talking about stuff that I know. I think that's a little bit eccentrical, but I do like talking about things that I know. I do like talking about Forex. If someone asks me what's Forex, I could be 2 hours talking about it, explaining it. I hate teaching. I don't like it at all. I find myself very useless to try and teach. But I think I've been doing a good job, kinda, through Telegram, YouTube, etc. But yeah, when I started teaching or creating these videos, I realized that I had gaps in my trading plan. Not only I had gaps, but there were things that I didn't know how to answer myself, and there are things that I still haven't managed to answer, right? And yeah, those are things that I still have to improve, and of course I will improve as time goes by, right? And basically when I started doing that, that's when I started to get better. That's when I took the retry. That's when I started to get profits very slowly, as I was still scared. As an example, the first mistake that I did was that I didn't want to get back to break even, because if I did, I would ask for the retry for sure, right? So that kind of stopped me a little bit, basically slowed me down through the path. And yeah, that's pretty much it, when I started doing that, when I started looking at the details, looking at why price triggered me out, not just saying, okay, I got stopped out, whatever, let's look for the next trade. No, just try and find what did you do wrong? Where did it react to? Did it react to something? Is there something you could have expected price? Would have you been able to actually see that before it actually happened, before hindsight? I don't know how it's said. What can you improve? Simple as that. Just doing that has actually made me improve so much. And it was not even back testing, because it's not back testing. It's just looking at what happened and saying, okay, so this actually worked out because this and this and this. This worked out because this and this and this. This didn't work out because this and this and this. And then you go and you say, okay, so there are 10 trades this week that worked out exactly the same way. So that's a pattern. Realize the form that it has, because something visual, an image or a pattern, a drawing of something actually is way better than just having it written, right? Having it, for me to say, okay, let's pause a bit here. For me to say, okay, wait for a reaction, it break, and wait for a reaction in supply / demand area, wait for it to fail, and entry on the cost. For me to say just like that, it's not the same than me explaining it with an image and showing you what is a reaction, showing you what is a failed reaction, and what would I expect to price to react to, etc. Right? So just by looking at it and having those draws, setups, kind of stuff, helps a lot. Okay, helps a lot. And I think that's something not many of you do, or not many traders do. And I don't know, I think that hundreds of strategies could come up with just looking at why things happened and why some things didn't happen, right? Just putting the hours into that. So I went a little bit off topic, but that's what I wanted to talk about. What did I do wrong, and what do I want you to not do wrong, right? And so here's the way that I did it. Okay, little demo. What I mean with little demo is that I had 2 to 3 weeks in demo. So yeah, little demo, little consistency. I had ended up those couple of weeks in profits, of course, but it was just thanks to 2 trades. Were they good analyzed and good trades, good targeted? Did they hit the target? Did they react where I thought they would? The trade and the analyze was amazing. Both of those trades were analyzed amazingly, were the best trades that I've seen in my life. Yes. Did they work? Yes. Does that mean that I now have the permission to just go and get a funded account? No. Because even though that was a good analysis, that does not mean that you can do that consistently, right? And that's why you have to, even though there was a video that I'll send to you if I find it, because it was so good that it kind of woke me up and made me even work a little bit harder. I'm gonna look for it now. That basically says that you can't just take one win. Here it is. You can't just take one win and go to sleep. You can't take one win and say, I'm done. Right? When you take a win, you process that win and think why that win happened. Hold on, I don't want to plot it like that. Fuck. You need to have somewhat of a... you have to stay there. When you take a loss, you still look for wins. But when you take a win, you just say, okay, I took a win, that's it. I'm a profitable trader. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Let's say someone of you tells me, am I consistent? Asks me, sorry, am I a consistent trader? And I would ask you, what can you do? Because if you tell me, well, I've been trading for 2 weeks, I took 3 10 hours, amazingly analyzed, and I took only 2 losses that, in my opinion, are good trades, but pretty much failed because there were some confluences against me. If you tell me that, I will tell you, continue to do it on demo. Why not? What is the hurry? I mean, think about it. Think about it this way, okay? Maybe for me, it was good, the experience that I had when I was pretty much trading on challenges, right? I was risking as I've said, the only chance that I had to basically be funded, right? And I was not being as profitable as I wanted to, okay? So maybe that helped me, but what would have been better according to you? do you think that it would have been better for me to spend those months, or at least 1 or 2 more months, back testing and see what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong, basically improving, and then get into a challenge? Or get into a challenge and improve while you're in the challenge? Something else that I forgot to say, as soon as I started the challenge, I changed the strategy, because in Phantom, I started to see on Instagram stories and stuff like that they were trading just the 1 minute. They were trading just the 1 minute. And I had left Phantom, I think, 3 to 4 days ago, and I wanted to die at that point, because I was like, I just quit. I've seen that they're finding 10 hours in just a buy that worked out in 10 minutes. I want to do that. And I changed strategies as soon as I started my challenge. That's something else that, well, it's not something you gotta do. Okay, something that you just can't even think about. Changing strategies in the middle of the challenge, in the middle of a challenge, or just changing strategy itself is something that you should not do at any point. Because you have to put the hours on one strategy, and that will work out. There are dozens of strategies out there that work out, and if you put the hours on it, you'll find a way through them, and yeah, be able to pretty much get profitable with them. Okay. Want to say something else? No, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, this video ended up being a lot larger than I expected. But let's continue. Something else that I did wrong was I didn't have a strong psychology. And well, that was one of the reasons why I pretty much changed strategies, because the strategy that I knew, which was based on 1 hour and basically waiting for another kind of confirmation, it was 1 hour and 1 minute, right? You expect price to get into the 1 hour area, then you look into the 1 minute for confluences, and then you take the trade, right? So that kind of trading still works. It's not that they stopped using it because it didn't work. It's not because of that. It's just because, well, some traders were more comfortable trading in the 1 minute, or wanted to trade, as an example, just London, and basically start to be intraday traders, right? Just every trade that you take, close it through the day, not more than that. And I changed the strategy because psychologically I felt like I was being left behind or something. I don't even remember why I did what I did, right? So yeah, not a strong psychology. And last thing, well, the thing that I did was a strong risk management. I never stopped risking a 0.25 except when I was feeling comfortable with the way that I was trading, when I realized that I was actually doing a lot of good things and some minor bad things that I still had to improve, of course. But basically, yeah, that's pretty much it. If I would have risked a 0.5%, I for sure would have lost the account. At some point, I was talking to a friend at this point that I told him I'm going to start risking a 0.10 because otherwise I'm going to lose the account. And I didn't. Thanks to him, to be honest, I didn't, and I managed to get back to break even with a 0.25. And I'm really grateful for Chad, because otherwise I would have not managed to keep my. I don't think I would have managed to keep that account, to be honest. But that's pretty much it. I'm sorry that the video was too long, but I think it's a pretty important video because, oh god, it's just, I think I've talked about a lot of really important stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys take something away from it. And well, yeah, any doubts, anything, seriously, just talk to me, whether it is through Instagram, Telegram, whatever. I'm sure I'll find my way to respond to you guys. So that's pretty much it for now. I hope this helps someone, and good luck to everyone, and see you soon.